Okay, today we have 7b simple past regular verbs. Here we have a white box or rectangle. Pay attention to the verbs in blue. They're regular verbs. They have an ed ending. Listen.
3.53.
I played tennis this morning.
We watched a good movie on TV last night.
My grandfather lived in Sao Paulo when he was young.
I studied Korean when I was at school.
Okay, so now we have the first bullet point, viñeta. We use the simple past for finished actions in the past, especially when we say the time. This morning, last night, when I was young, when I was at school. It's specific in the past. Well, we have spelling rules for regular verbs. You have to consider that the ed, when it's used, sometimes the verb changes. For example, this is the base form, watch. Ed, watched. Play. Vowel Y. Vocal Y, played. When we have these verbs, vocal Y, agregamos ed. No problem. In general, most of the verbs have ed. Most of the verbs, regular verbs, have an ed ending. Now, pay attention to this. Live. Lived. Here we have an E. Tenemos una E. Not necessary to add another E, so just add the D. Alright? Live, lived. Now here we have a vowel and a consonant, but this is one syllable verb. Stop. One syllable verb, one vowel, one consonant. What happens? Double the P. Stopped. Double P. One syllable verb, that is one vowel, one consonant, double the consonant. Study. What's the difference between play and study? The difference is that the ending is consonant Y, consonant Y. Consonant Y, this is the changed. Studied. That is consonant plus Y, change Y and use it. So you have to be careful when you write the ed to a regular verb. Then these are the formulas in the affirmative, negative, questions, and yes, no, short answers. So, very simple. In affirmative sentences, the verb has the ed, all right? The verb has the ed in affirmative sentences. And you conjugate the regular verbs in the same form for all the subjects. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. It's the same. What happens in negative sentences? Okay. You use the auxiliary verb didn't for all the subjects. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. But the verb, it's normal. ED disappears in the negative. Now, what about the questions? Use the auxiliary verb did for all the subjects, and the verb goes normal. That is, ED disappears in questions. Now, for the short answers: yes, I, you, he, she, it, we, or they did, or no, I, you, he, she, it, we, they didn't. Finally, we have the bullet points, contractions. Didn't is the contraction form for did not. Didn't is informal. Regular verbs in the past, that is affirmatives, end in ed. Ed exists in affirmative sentences. Example: worked, lived, played, only in affirmative sentences. Now, next bullet point or viñeta. The simple past is the same for all persons. As we said before, the simple past is conjugated in the affirmative, negative, and interrogative in the same way for all the persons. The last bullet point: use auxiliary verbs did or didn't plus the base form for the simple past, interrogative and negative. Look, in the negative, didn't and the verb normal. Interrogative, did, auxiliary verb for the question and the verb normal. Example or explanation: did is the past of do and does. Let's go to page 137, 7b, letter A. Rewrite the sentences in the simple past with yesterday. All of these are regular verbs in the present. You have an example: I watch TV. Simple present. Simple past: I watched TV. Stop the video and conjugate the verbs in the simple past. Check the answers. Letter B. Complete the sentences with a verb in the simple past. Some are negative, others are affirmative or interrogative. All depends on the sentence. Stop the video, complete the blanks, and then check your answers. Okay, these are the answers.